Hello, theme park enthusiasts, and welcome to a new series on this channel covering the game Planet Coaster. Now, I'm really excited to dive into this game on this channel as I've played it a decent amount already, and I really enjoy the game. However, the game takes up a lot of processing capabilities, and my old computer really couldn't handle the game and to record at the same time. So I've just gotten a new computer that I hope will allow me to record in a decent quality while going through the game and enjoying it. I'm going to go ahead and start off by replaying the career mode that I've completed for the most part already. And since I already have beaten the career mode overall, I'm going to go ahead and focus this time on doing the best I can at each level to creating a really functional park with good quality detail that flows together. So with that in mind, let's jump into the first level and go to Pirate Battle. Alright, so here we are, Pirate Battle. Avast me hearties, and welcome to Planet Coaster. Shiver those timbers and take charge of this explosive pirate park. Complete ride construction, draw in the crowds, and give your guest a swashbuckling good time. Alright, so on most levels what I suggest to do is to start the game by pausing. You want to be able to take some time to look around, see what you have, evaluate everything, and also see what your challenges are before you sort of get into the gameplay. Because a lot of the times with some of these parks, they're going to be losing money right away. So if you just jump in and allow it to continue playing, you're going to be losing some of the money you may need to build things. So let's go to objectives first and see what it is we need to do here. So for the easy star here, we have to attract 800 guests and build 2 rides. We already have 1 in place, and we have 643 guests already. So we're not doing too bad there. For medium, we have to attract 900 guests and build 4 rides. And for the hard, we have to attract 1,100 guests and have a balance of $15,000. So, one thing to note here, this is a mistake I made when I first played the level. When they mean rides, what they're talking about is only the things that are under the rides icon. It does not count track rides, and it does not count coasters. First time I played this, I built this water ride here and did not understand why when I spent all my money on it, it didn't count towards one of the achievements. So, the next thing I want to do is look around, see what we already have. We have this coaster, but that's not going to count towards our rides. We have a ride over here, it looks like, yes. So we have a Rocktopus over here. Looks like it's got a decent queue going on. So that's a good thing. Our coaster has a really long queue going on, so that's good. With both of these rides, the first thing I want to do is I want to go click on the ride, and I want to go into the operations here and make sure that the minimum rider load is going to be at full. When a park is functioning well and you've got plenty of guests in the queue lines, you want to make sure that every time it goes out, it's always going to be full. So we're going to go ahead and do that. This coaster is set up as a block section part. Generally what that means, a block section will be created at the top of a lift hill, and then usually a good coaster will have a block section toward the end of it. So probably somewhere in this area here they're going to have built in a block section, maybe over in the trees or something of that nature. But that will slow the coaster down and have one car wait. Here's the block section here. So this will slow the coaster down, allow one train to wait till the other one leaves that block section. This is a safety purpose on real roller coasters. So what will happen is this one that's on the track will come over here, it'll wait until this one has left this section. As I said, most likely the second block section portion is at the top of the lift hill. So once this train goes over the lift hill, this one will leave these rollers over here and come into the station to be loaded. That way we can create more than one train on a track and get some good flow going on through it. The number of block breaks that you have, which is, as I said, the wheels that are over here and the top of the hill, determines the number of trains. Basically, the number of block breaks plus 1 or minus 1 is the number of trains you can have. We have the 2 block breaks here, so we can have 1 additional train. If we had 3 block breaks, then we could have 2 additional trains. Then we'll go over to the Rocktopus here, and we'll also put this up to a full load. For the normal rides, I only leave them as being maintained every 30 minutes. They don't break down too often, so it doesn't seem like it's a big problem. roller coasters break down more often, particularly the more block break sections it seems that they have in. So we're going to have this being maintained every 10 minutes. So we'll go ahead and change that. Alright, so now that we've got that out of the way, next thing to look at is pricing. We want to be making a profit here. That's one of our goals, is to get up to $15,000. So what I recommend doing is going to the overview of the ride or the testing statistics. In this case, we're looking at the roller coaster. It's not that scary of a roller coaster or exciting of a roller coaster, so it's okay. It's definitely not that scary at all, so it's not that great in that way. But it is good that the nausea is low. So those are going to make it where people want to ride on this ride overall. Then we have the prestige here. Now this is going to be determined by the roller coaster itself, as well as things like the ambiance around it. So the fact that this pirate ship is nearby gives it some prestige. The fact that it has this little building over here and these animatronics shooting gives it some prestige. And then the layout of the queue line also gives it prestige. So the fact that it has all this stuff over here is going to help the queue line prestige and the queue scenery rating, which right here we can see is at 100%. So having the animatronic, having all this scenery here, all factors into that. What this amounts to is we get the prestige rating here of 911. Now, what I've found by playing this game is that the best suggestion I can give is take that number, whatever the prestige rating is, and divide it by 35. Then I usually round it downwards. So in this case, the prestige rating is 911 divided by 35 would make this 26. So we're going to go to the price of the tickets here. Right now they're set at $20. We can bump these up to $26. And most likely it will not affect the amount of people wanting to go on the ride. We'll still have a nice long queue. Nobody will be complaining too much that the ride is overpriced. Now the prestige will change. Right now it is a new ride that has not worn out at all. When the ride gets older and wears down some, the prestige will go lower. So you do want to adjust your ticket prices accordingly. We could do the same thing over here for the Rocktopus and adjust that price, but I'm not going to for right now because I'm going to make some alterations to the Rocktopus here in a few minutes. Now, in addition to that, I can see we have a Chief Beef over here. Let's see what we have overall as far as facilities and as far as employees. So we're going to go into park management. First thing I want to check out is staff. I'm going to go to all staff, and I can see here we have 2 janitors. One is not that happy, the other is fairly happy. We have a mechanic, so that's a good thing. And we have the one person working as a vendor. So we know pretty much that we only have the one stand here because of this. Also here we can train all of these people. Now this is going to help happiness somewhat, so probably this person's happiness will go up when we train them, as it just did there. This also makes them a more efficient employee. So we're going to boost all of them up to training level 2. Now the suggestion I have for this is that you want to boost their pay by $15 every time you put up the training level for the janitors and the vendors. And this would also include entertainers. The security guards I'm a little bit less sure on. The mechanics, I recommend upping their pay by at least $20 every time that you train them. Now, once again, this is not as exact of a science, so you do want to pay attention. If they start to become unhappy, probably the best solution if you can't train them again is to boost their pay by a little bit. But for right now, we'll go ahead and put these two up by to 135, so $15 raise. We'll boost the mechanic up to 310, which is a $20 raise, and we'll boost the vendor up to 165. So that takes care of them. Now, I can hire more employees, so I could hire an entertainer, and I will here in a little bit, because as I said, my point going through this time is I want to make this park run as efficiently as possible and make it entertaining. So one thing I do know that we're going to need is we're going to need to have a security guard. I also am probably going to get Captain Lockjaw in here since he's an entertainer and this is a pirate park, so that'll fit the theming well. But I don't want to spend my money on that stuff just yet. I want to make sure that we're making the money we need first. So right now, as far as attractions, we can see here we have the 2 rides that we've already talked about. The High Seas is our roller coaster, which we set at $26. And then we have Commotion in the Ocean, which is the Rocktopus ride, which is set at $5.50. That we're going to change, as I said, in a little bit here. We're going to go to shops, and we have the Chief Beef. They always put numbers after the names. I don't know why. It's one of my little annoyances to the thing, so I always take those off. So we can go in here and we can look at items for sale. We have the 2 items here at the Chief Beef that are for sale, and generally on most of these places the items are underpriced from what they could be. Now, I had found a handy little guide on the Steam Workshop, I think it was through the Steam Reddit page, that sort of gave suggestions for pricing that seemed to work pretty well on most levels. So, for the Chief Beef, as an example here, the Chief Beef Burger, or the Chief Burger Extra Large, we're going to up that to $19. And then the Standard Chief Burger, we're going to up to $14. When we do this, it's going to make people unhappy if we were to just leave it that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into extras here, and you want to look at each of the extras and ensure that they're going to raise happiness. There are a few extras at certain shops that would actually make people unhappy. You don't want to click on those. But any of the ones that will make the people happy, such as the ketchup, gherkins, mustard, lettuce, cheese, tomatoes, and bacon, we're going to add onto the burger. And then we're going to add a lot of them onto the burger. This doesn't seem to up the cost badly for what we're paying to make the thing. Really what we're paying at this shop is the vendor to be here. So putting these to a lot doesn't hurt us, but it does make the people happier in the product they're getting, and it attracts more people to the shop. So we'll go ahead and put all these to a lot. And then I just always click the use same price at all the shops, so that way if I build in their Chief Beef, I probably won't in this part, but if I were to, it'll just automatically put all these to a lot, and it'll set the prices the same here. So that's taken care of. Now, one of the things that's really often asked for in Planet Coaster Parks is going to be drinks, so we will need to put in some drinks here in a little bit, but first of all, we don't have that much money, and I want to put in a second ride here. So let's look at rides. Let's see what we have. Now, in much the same way that the food stands, there's a sort of page that you can find that'll be helpful as far as setting prices and stuff. There's also information on some of the rides that you can adjust them in order to make them very popular for a park. You sort of have to get used to which ones these are, or just look at the list whenever you need it. I know, for example, Wild Blue is on this list, the Venetian Carousel is on this list, Test Flight is not, but the Teacups are. Insanity is, I believe Loop de Loop is as well. So I've got a decent amount of rides here that I could put in and adjust their values to make them very exciting. Rocktopus is one of those rides, but I don't want to adjust this right now, and you'll see why here in a moment, because I want to have this ride open while I'm getting the new ride set up. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Venetian Carousel, because this one is a big money earner whenever it's adjusted properly. Then I'm going to go ahead and put it fairly near to the Rocktopus, so that way I'm getting some of the prestige off of the theming that's already around the Rocktopus. So put it, say, right about there. That should work out all right. And I am going to theme this up. As I said, I do want this park to be sort of flowing and fit as one cohesive theme. And part of that is going to be when we place the entrance and the exits here. So the entrance, I'm going to have over on this side of the ride. I'm going to have this be a fairly long entrance because it's going to become very popular very quickly with what I'm going to set up for it. Then I'm going to place the exit over here. Now, the reason I'm placing the exit here isn't so much about popularity, but the thing to keep in mind is when a ride needs to be serviced, the mechanic walks up the exit route. So you want your exit route sort of right near where the station for the ride operator is. This will create the shortest route for the mechanic to walk to the ride to repair it when it needs to be repaired. So I could have adjusted this slightly better to make it where it's even closer to the ride operator area, but that's pretty good. Alright, then I want to take a look at the paths here because I want to use the same materials for my paths as they are already. They're using the flagstone here, so I'm going to use the flagstone for my exit path. Alright, the exit doesn't have to be at all thrilling. Really, the shorter the exit route can be, the better. And then let's see what they have for their entrance. Looks like they're using just sort of a gray Q path, would be my guess. Yes. It's not changing the color at all here, so that would tell me that that is correct. Alright. Now for the entrances, what I like to do is I like to put that first piece in and then select the grid. This allows me to do sort of more cattle pen queuing, which when I create my own park, I'm not going to do as much because it's not that exciting and I really want to theme up the park that I create. But for now, cattle pen queuing's a great way of getting a bunch of riders into the queue very quickly and not having many issues with it. This also allows you to create very long queues, which because of the way the ride's going to be set up, I want the queues to be long. At a certain point, the riders will say, I'm not going to wait that long in the queue. This will make them slightly upset, but they won't be as upset as they would be if they had to, for example, not get in the queue because the queue was too short. So, for example, if this queue gets to be where it's entirely full, or say the coaster one is over here, then guests will start to complain that the queue is full and they couldn't go on it. They'll be more upset about that than they will be if they are to say that they don't want to wait that long in the queue. And guest happiness is important in this game, so that's just something to keep in mind. So, yes, this is an enormously long queue. It doesn't need to be this long, but the thing is, it, as I said, just sort of allows me that freedom. If I could get it to connect properly. There we go. Alright, so we've got our queue set up. And we've achieved our bronze task of building 2 rides. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the ride. Now this is where this adjustment that I was talking about comes into play. So we're going to look at the Venetian Carousel here. As I said, there's a list that you can look at that tells you what you need to adjust a ride to. We want to go to sequence. And for the Venetian Carousel, you have 2 options. You can either spin or spin fast. For the best possibility of the Venetian Carousel, you want to go with spin fast only. And we're going to actually want it to do this 9 times instead of the 3 that are here. So we've got the 3 already. We're just going to count out 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And change these to spin fast. This will up the popularity of the ride. Now, again, you could go to, after this is tested, and look at the prestige and adjust your price according to that. With the list that I have found, the person already gives a price to these different rides that does function for the ride. So since somebody else already did the work and I don't have to, why not use their prices for it? So in the case of the Venetian Carousel, because we have it spinning that much, we're able to put the price here at $20 a ride, making it almost as profitable as the roller coaster is. Wouldn't seem like a carousel should do that. It's almost sort of a cheat in the game, but it does work. So I'm going to go ahead and use it. Also changing the name there because I want to get rid of those numbers, as I said. Alright, so we're going to put that into test mode. With that testing, the other thing I want to do here is I am going to change this queue line because, again, this is really a very short queue and the customers are going to complain once I adjust this ride that they don't have an ability to get on it. Even when I fix this queue, it's still going to be a fairly short one because I don't have a ton of room to work with here. Though I could put it over here. I might do that. I'll probably put the queue over there so that'll work out. The other thing we can do to a queue, though, is we can go into operations. Always want to make sure it's at full load. And we can enable priority pass here. Now, we do not have a priority pass stand set up yet, but we're going to. So we might as well put in the priority passes here. So for this, what this is basically is if you've been to a major park like, say, Disney or something like that, they have their fast pass line. In this game, what you have to have is you will set up an information desk. actually, let me think about that before I set this all up here. Go to shops and facilities. We have information. And right now, the information desks not available. That's what I wanted to check out. Let me go to research here. We can do a first aid. We do want to do that. I don't know if we'll have priority pass yet or not. So I don't want to put in the priority pass lanes yet, because if we don't have them, then just having these ugly lanes here would be sort of annoying. But as I was saying, the point of the priority pass is that it's sort of like the fast pass at Disney. The person will go to the information desk, or as I'll relabel mine, the priority pass desk, and when they have that, they'll go ahead and buy a priority pass for $10 that will allow them to use this different route that we put in. So for here, I would have put the entrance right here, and I'd put the exit up here. Then I'd connect it with a secondary path that just walked from here up to here. That way they skip all this queue and they get to go ahead of the people that are in the line. What they'll have is they'll have a little wristband on that would allow them to do this, and they can do that on all the rides. Some of the guests at the park will say, oh, the priority pass is for suckers, so on and so forth. But some people will buy it, so it's a little bit extra money you can make, and it also helps with the queue wait times, and it'll make people a little bit happier in that respect. As I said, I don't know on this level if I'll be able to research it though, so for right now, I'm going to disable the priority pass. We'll come back to that depending on the research. With that in mind, let's go to that research. So under park management, we can go to research, and this is where you can build new things for your park. For this park, it's a very small park that we're going to have here. We don't need any more coasters. We don't need any more rides. We have plenty of those capable right here. But I definitely do want a first aid. Now, when I get this first aid unlocked, there's the possibility that the next thing on here might be the information desk. So then I'll research that next. This takes a little bit of time when we're unpaused in order to do. Right now it's only spending $100 a month, but I'm going to up this to the $500. So that way it'll be done a little bit faster, and it'll be done in 15 days time. So we've got that working. We still have some money left. I could build a few more rides here, but really I want to just get started with the very basics right now in this first video. So the other things I'm going to go ahead and add in right now, I do want another food stand and such. So let's go to food shops, blueprints. Now here you were probably able to see that I had a few blueprints that are locked. These are ones that I've downloaded off the Steam Workshop for a different project I'm working on. That's the reason that they're not here. We're not going to be using those in these parks and such. What we will be using is we'll either be designing in some parks our own food stands and such, or we'll be using some blueprints and whatnot that they have in the game. Here, I really do like this pirate ship food stall, so I think I will go ahead and put that in somewhere over here. Now, I'm wanting to keep in mind I want to extend that path, so I'm going to have this probably be the end of the pathing over there. With that in mind, let's change this pathing. All I'm doing is deleting some of the path they had. I don't know why they do that sometimes, where they have path that is a different color and texture and such than what they're using. Just looks weird. I want everything to be nice and uniform. Alright, so let's go ahead and have this path come up somewhat like this, I think. And then we'll go ahead and put this right about here. This will give a bit more prestige to some of the rides, I would think. Since it is close to them. I do like the overall look of this one. And then let's see what we have in here. We have a Chief Beef and a Hot Dog Squad. Alright, we already have a Chief Beef in the park. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to edit building with selected part. And we're just going to delete that Chief Beef. That took it out of here. I'll probably leave the Hot Dog Squad. It's alright. And then I want to go into shops and facilities custom. And I want a drink shop here. We only have Cosmic Cow milkshakes available for now, but that'll be good enough. As long as it's a drink stand, it'll work. I'm going to drop it into place in this setup. We get the nice little moo sound there for using it. Then let's go ahead and select it, not the archway. Alright, so what I can do, since it's wanting to be a little bit of a pain in the butt, is click done, then go to the Cosmic Cow here. Once again, I'm going to change this to get rid of the number. And again, here we have these prices. So I want to adjust the prices in this case for each of these drinks. And for the Cosmic Cow ones, $9.50 seems to work. And then again here, we're going to look at these. Marshmallows make them happy, fudge pieces make them happy, ice cream makes them happy, toffee sauce makes them happy, and chocolate pieces. And it will pretty much be the same on each of the drinks at that stand. I say at that stand because ice, I know, is one of them that varies depending on the shop. At some shops, say for I believe it's soda, ice makes them unhappy. But then at a smoothie place, the ice, I believe, makes them happy. So you do have to check at each of the different stands to make sure that you're adding things that make them happy for that particular shop. Alright, so we've got that all set up. That one's good to go. And then we want to go over to this hot dog squad. Change that to not have the number on it. And then for the hot dogs, we're going to be looking at $18 for the jumbo hot dog and $13 for the other hot dog. Now in this video, I'm really explaining this. In certain levels, I'll probably do all of this and set up the prices and stuff on fast forward, as it would get really repetitive to see, and I'm sure you wouldn't enjoy that. So if you do want to see the particular prices, you can always slow down the video to see what I'm doing for that particular shop and such. But as I said, in this video, I'll take the time and walk you through it for each of the shops that I'm putting in. So we're going to have more condiments and stuff on the thing than the actual thing itself. Jumbo hot dog with an entire garden on it. Alright. Now we need to attach this to the walkway because it's up in the air there. We'll go with path. And that should work out perfectly. There we go. Alright, so we've got our stations there. I want to have a first aid station somewhere in here. I'll have to see where I put that. Really over here I'm thinking about putting a restroom. Is sort of what I have plans for at the end of this area. But I might put the first aid station somewhere like right over in here. That could work out. For this park, I know we do have an ATM that's over here. Now, I know some people, in the interest of making money, you know, charge for the ATM. I really don't want to go down that route if I can help it, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave the ATM as free. We do have this area here, too, where I could put in a shop. I'll have to think about that. What I'll probably do is put the information desk there, actually. That'll work out well. If I get the information desk to put the fast passes in. I am getting the first aid station, as I said, with the research, but the thing about the first aid station is you want to put it near your rides where people are not going to feel well because of the ride. So you want to put it near things that are going to be fairly high intensity. The Rocktopus will be a little bit, the coaster will be a little bit, but say if I put in a real spinning coaster here, or if I put in maybe one of the more adult flat rides over here, then I'd want the first aid station fairly close to this because it would help people from getting too sick and making a mess in the park. Speaking of mess, before we do anything else, we want to go into scenery here, and we're going to want to put down some bins. So let's go to Path Extras and look at the bins here. So we are dealing with a pirate park. I'm going to want something that I feel is sort of pirate themed. Vintage does not work here. World Fair doesn't really work. Studios doesn't work. Spooky sort of does, but I really feel like the barrel bin works best for a pirate park for some reason, in my opinion. So I'm going to put a few along the way here. Oftentimes, right when people are getting on rides, they like to put throwaway trash and stuff. And I also do like to put them just off of the path where I can help it. That way it doesn't block up the flow of the path. So let's put a few more, just once again to avoid litter becoming an issue in the park. Can't really put any in that area, it seems like. Alright. But I mean, that is pretty much just the queue area for the roller coaster. So we'll just put one over there. Should be alright, I would hope. They do have a bin over there, so that's a good thing. We want one over here by the Chief Beef without question. Really, it sort of fits well over here because you got all these bins in the area anyways. So we'll put one there. There is one there. Put one there before the bridge. And this is just going to help your maintenance staff so you don't have nearly the amount of mess going on that you would have otherwise. I hate putting them along paths when I can avoid it because it just sort of, as I said, blocks the path. But I did want one in that area, so we'll put one there. Really like the landscaping here, so I don't want to mess it up. We'll just hide one over in that corner. Alright, now benches wise, I'm going to go with the barrel bench, sort of fit with the theme. There's nothing to do along here. It is a long walk though. So I'm going to want to put some benches for them after that long walk. So I'll put a bench over here, and another one over there. Same thing when they're getting off rides that are somewhat high intensity, they may want a bench. So I'm going to put a bench coming out of the high seas. We'll put one there. That should work out okay. Need to decide what I'm going to do with that path area over there still. Now we do have tables, but tables weren't brought into the game till a little bit later. So on some of these earlier levels, people won't use the tables. So when you're watching me here, it's not that I'm being ignorant of the people's need to be able to sit down and stuff. I'm just trying to put down the seating that they'll actually use in the game, which they just won't use the tables. Sort of sad. But definitely for my own park, I will be putting down tables, as I do like the look of the people sitting there enjoying their food. Alright, let's put one there, and we'll put an additional one there. Alright, that's good enough for now on that stuff. We still have some money left over, so last thing before I start the park actually operating, let's get the rest of the staff that I wanted in. I do want a security guard, because of the fact that you will have things like theft go on in a park, and we just want to deter that. So we'll just have him sort of floating in the air until this park starts. And then, as I said, this is a pirate park. I want to have Captain Lockjaw in here, so we'll get him floating in the air. We'll have one of each of those. Alright, so we've done the initial setup now. This should pretty much easily get us to the easy standard. We already built the rides. Now we just need some more guests to come in, which once this becomes active, they will come in. So let's go ahead and hit play. We will see that this will begin testing, and once it's done testing, we'll be able to open it, which will take care of that. While we're waiting, let's go ahead and ride this roller coaster here. I will try to put in some on-ride perspectives of any of the roller coasters or the major rides that go on in each of the different parks as we go through. So there we have it. As you saw, we were stopped right at the brake section there. As soon as the other train was able to leave, then we're able to move forward. So there's those block brakes that I was talking about before. Very simple little roller coaster here, but sometimes that works nicely. People seem to really like the wooden roller coasters, and the sort of there and back approach of this one works well for getting the guests on and off fairly quickly. Alright, I was wondering what was taking a little while there for the guests to get off. But they'll make their way to the exit. Do keep in mind when you're building a roller coaster, the guest will have to fully exit before other guests can come on. So you don't want to make the exit too far away if you can help it. Otherwise, it just takes a really long time, and the throughput on your coaster is going to be hurt by it. But the new people will come on, the ride will start, and it'll repeat itself all over again. I'm not going to really tweak this coaster, as it's running well for the park. I don't have any problems with it. But if I did want to make this ride a bit more exciting and such, I could do things like adjust the speed of the lift hill. That would raise the overall speed of the ride and raise the excitement. But that would also raise the fear on the ride, which is a balancing act you have to keep in mind. As I said, since the ride is working well and it's getting plenty of guests on, I'm not going to worry about tweaking it at this particular part. It's sort of good as it is. Alright. Now while that's been working, hopefully this is almost done testing. This has a really long ride period. Hey, that worked out perfect. We just got done with the testing. So let's go ahead and open that. Now we're down to 477 guests. Or actually 694, my apologies. That was the park rating. And you'll notice now that this ride's open, that number is probably going to increase some. That'll get us up to that standard that we need. While that is going on, I am going to adjust this ride now, though. So, I'm going to go ahead and pause it because we're going to make some adjustments. They're going to take a little bit of time there. We can also see that this restaurant is working here. People are buying some hot dogs, it looks like. And people are over at the milkshake shop. I like using this particular structure because we have the two cannons off the back, which, as I said, adds to the attractiveness of the area. But anyways, going with the Rocktopus here. We need to go to the sequence. We're going to have to close the ride in order to adjust the sequence. I didn't want to do this originally because I did not want to have one of the only two rides in the park go down until I had the Venetian Carousel up and running. So that was sort of the purpose of why I didn't do this right away. Now that we have the Venetian Carousel, we will close this. Now in this ride, we have more than the two options that we did with the Venetian Carousel. We have the spin sequence, the bounce sequence, and the wave sequence. The combination for this ride is doing the bounce sequence and then the wave sequence, and we want to do that 4 times. So, bounce sequence, wave sequence, bounce sequence, wave sequence, bounce, and wave. And then that will give us our 4 times. This ride never is going to make us too much money, but it can make us more money than it was. It was $5.50 before. We'll be able to put it up to $10. So we're going to need to test that ride. And as I said, I also want to adjust the actual path for this ride. So let's go ahead into queue pathing here and let's adjust how this is. Alright, we need that first piece. Then we're going to select grid. This is where I sort of wanted to put that restaurant over here, so that way this new queue that I'm making would get some of the bonus of that restaurant. Alright, that's probably a long enough queue for that. There we go. Now the problem with this particular queue is I really won't be able to put in a fast pass the way I have it set up. So what I'm going to do is, before I even open it, I'm going to adjust that. I'm going to do it this way. Then the fast pass can at least go over here, which will make people feel like they're getting something for their money. Alright. So that's going to be in the testing phase. It's all set up for the testing phase. Go ahead and run that. All the people have to get off of it, which is going to limit our popularity a little bit and make a few people upset. But it'll be reopening soon enough, and it'll be more popular than it was. People are using our bench, which is a good thing. And you can see the waves of people coming into the Venetian Carousel already. We've got 6 days left on the first aid there, so that works out fine. Really, with the set of rides that we have here, I'll probably just end up putting the first aid somewhere over in this section. I don't know exactly. I mean, like I said, I have this path here that I might as well do something with. So I might put the first aid over in this section and then put the other 2 rides that I need to put in over here. Something of that nature. We'll see here in a little while. Really, I'm just wanting to get the guests in that I need to in order to complete the easy star rating here. And once this ride's back up and running, that'll be easy enough to do. Right now, it's just hurting me a little bit having that ride now. Captain Lockjaw, though, is entertaining people, so that's a good thing. Guest happiness is always something to be considering. It will make people more willing to spend money at your park. They'll stay longer at the park. It'll just work out overall in your best interest. And we can see that somewhat with the people going over here. They're getting their milkshakes. One of my few complaints with the game is the way they hold things like milkshakes. It's a little bit on the wonky side here. They hold the hot dogs well enough, so I can't complain about that, I guess. Alright. Just staying in the area because I'm waiting for the Rocktopus to finish its testing. And then we'll have the first aid station ready too. We already have here many guests are thirsty. That's not a surprise. But we did earn our bronze star. So that works out well. We didn't even have to wait for this to finish testing. So, we will be getting on to the medium challenges next. As far as attracting guests, that's not going to be a problem at all. But we are going to have to build 2 more rides. Again, not a problem at all. We got this research done. Good. We have the ATM as the next thing. I'll research it. We already have one, but want it out of the way, see if I can get the fast passes or not. And really all I'm waiting on right now is for this to finish its testing. It's a very small park here, but it is really a nice park overall. And as we can sort of see here, as I had said, the Venetian Carousel, extraordinarily popular. Wondering why some of the things are not full, even though I put it to full load. Well, hopefully the next time through it will be. Alright, Rocktopus is also ready. Okay, so with that, we've completed the Bronze Star. I'm going to go ahead and end this first video here. If you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and click that like button. And if you have not already, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon so that you're aware when I produce new videos in the future. Thank you, and I hope to see you again for another episode of Planet Coaster.